Hello viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Jagwani from Department of Computer Science, Arabic College, University of Delhi. So in our previous lecture we have seen the first normal form, and today's lecture is within the normalization topic. We are going to study second normal form. So before studying the second normal form, we need to go through a particular concept which is of functional dependencies. So let us try to see this functional dependency, because in order to understand the second normal form we will be requiring this concept. So when we talk about the functional dependency, there can be many types of functional dependency, but let us try to understand the basic concept first. So let's say there are two sets of attributes along with the others obviously. One attribute is named as x and another attribute is named as y, and these are present in a table T. So we can say y is functionally dependent on x within the table T if and only if each set x which is r dot which is belonging to, we can say, r dot x, there is precisely one corresponding set y belonging to r dot y. That means we can say there is only one set x which is corresponding to set y. This is functional dependency. We will be taking the example soon. So for example, here we have a book table in which we have book number, we have title, and we have author, and we have year. So B1 is having a title Moby Dick, author is H. Milleville, and year is 1851, while the book number B2 is having the title Lincoln, and author is G. Vidal, and the year was in which it was published or whatever is in 1984. So we can say the author attribute is functionally dependent on the pair book number and title. Yes, it is fine. Why? Because author can be we can say determined from book number and the title. So author attribute author is functionally dependent on this particular pair. So this was actually, we can say, it's a functional dependency. Now in second normal form we are going to see whether we are going to keep this functional dependencies or we are going to eliminate this functional dependency, and what is going to be the repercussions, that we will see in a short while. Apart from functional dependency, if you can see on the screen, there is one more concept written which is fully functional dependent. So why can be said that fully functional dependent on x if y is functional dependent on x and y is not functional dependent on any proper subset of x. So for example, we have seen that author is functionally dependent on the pair book number and title. Now assume if I am going to kind of remove this title from here and we have only book number, can we say that author is still dependent on book number? Yes, because author can be determined from the book number. But now can we further remove any kind of any field or anything from this book number, or can we have a subset of book number on which the author can be dependent or on which the author can be functionally dependent? So the answer is no, we don't have any subset. So that means our author attribute is fully functionally dependent on book number. Now please consider the difference between functionally dependent and fully functionally dependent. Functionally dependent, we have taken two fields or two attributes, one is book number and another one is title. So for example, here we are removing title, we are not removing book number within this particular book table context. Why we are not removing title, or the question comes up, can the author attribute be fully functionally dependent on the title also? So we can say no, because books can have common titles and this could be a very common scenario. So for example, Introduction to Database Management Systems, that's a very common title, many books can have, and different authors may have the written these books. So we always say Introduction to Database Management System by so and so. or maybe Swami Vivekanand. This is such a common title. There are so many books in the name of title as Swami Vivekanand, written by so and so, written by ABC, written by XYZ. So we have such that. So if we are going to remove book number from here, this author attribute will not be further dependent on title, because you cannot determine, you can have two similar titles in a table. So, but author attribute is functionally dependent on this pair, book number and title, if taken together. So, yes, we can say author attribute is functionally dependent. Now, the question comes up, can we further take a subset of this particular pair and try to see the dependency, whether it exists or not. So, yes, we can say that author attribute is still we can say functionally dependent on book number, but along with being functionally dependent on book number, we are not able to find any subset from this book number on which the author should be dependent. That means now this book number cannot be kind of split or cannot be discretized. So, yes, we can say that author attribute is fully functional dependent. That means, I am repeating the definition again after explaining this we can say your example. Y is fully functionally dependent on X if Y is functionally dependent on X and Y is not functionally dependent on any proper subset of X. So, we here in case of book number, we do not have any proper subset of book number on which the author attribute is going to be further functionally dependent. So, here the book number, we can say it is fully functionally dependent. Let us try to see one more example. So, here we have a table borrowed books, or let us see what are the actually repercussions. So, in case of borrowed books, we have book B1, B2, then we have patron which is the name of the individual, J. Fisher and L. Perez. Then we have address of that particular patron, 101 patron, 101 Main Street, 202 Market Street, and what is the due date for that particular book. So, what we can understand from this particular scenario is this is a table which is having the record of books which are being borrowed from a library, book number, the person who has borrowed that, address of that particular person, and the due date on which this borrowed book is due. Now, let us try to see what is happening here. Address attribute, if you can see, is functionally dependent on book number and patron, obviously, because it's the address of the patron. Now, let us try to find a subset of this particular pair on which the address attribute is still functionally dependent. So, we can say okay, I mean it's very trivial that let us remove book number, let us stick with patron. So, address is still functionally dependent on the patron, and now we cannot further take any subset of the patron on which the address can be functionally dependent. So, we can say now, as we have got the smallest subset, we can say my address attribute is fully functionally dependent on the patron. Now, the point here is what are the problems in this type of functional dependence. Now, here is a functional dependency, or we can say here is a full functional dependency in which my address attribute is dependent on patron. Now, what are the problems with this? The problems is, try to understand, can we insert new patrons in the system until they have borrowed books? We cannot. We have at least, we need to have one record of their being borrowed the book. So, for example, someone has kind of taken a membership card, but has not borrowed any book. So, we cannot enter that. Then we have for update, for example, one person has borrowed, let us say, 5 books or 7 books. With each and every book, address is being written there. So, if address is being written there, and let us say one patron, let us say J. Fisher is there, who is who is borrowing, let's say 5 books. So that address is being written 5 times. Now what is happening? We need to update all the rows involving a given patron if he or she moves. Let's say patron has changed the address. Now as patron has changed the address, you need to change this address for all the 5 records in which the book is there. Now what is happening? Let's say you have you did it for 4 records and somehow accidentally or by mistake you are not able, or you have not done the updation in the 5th address, or in the 5th we can say copy of the address, instance of the address. What will happen? This is going to be an inconsistent data, that for the 4 records the address of J Fisher is something, and for the 5th record the address of J Fisher is something else. Now next thing, so here we have seen we cannot insert a new patron in the system until they have borrowed books. We need to update all the rows involving a given patron if he or she moves, which is the update anomaly. What about deletion? We are going to lose the whole information about the patron if they have written all the books they have borrowed. So for example, I am a patron there and visiting the library, not finding any good book for further, and let's say I thought I thought let us come back after maybe 15 days or so, and I have written all my books. So because this address is actually functionally dependent on the patron, fully functionally dependent on the patron, and address is also functionally dependent on the book number and patron, we are going to lose the whole information if the patron has written all the books that they have borrowed. That record is being deleted from the borrowed books, and now we don't have further any record corresponding to that particular patron, and specifically corresponding to that particular address. So this was actually we can say the concept of functional dependency and fully functional dependency. Now we will be using this particular concept into our second normal form. So let us try to see the definition of the second normal form first, and we will be taking it with the help of examples, and we will further drill down into it. So second normal form says that a table is in the second normal form if and only if it is in the first normal form. That is what I have kind of cleared in the previous lecture, that every higher one is the subset of the lower normalization level. So if we are talking about that a table is in second NF, that means it must be in the first NF already, and then we will be we'll keep on adding the conditions. So a table is in second normal form if and only if it is in the first normal form, and no non-prime attribute is dependent on any proper subset of any candidate key of the table. So please be careful while reading this, and even if you don't understand the essence of what is being given in the second point, we will be taking with the help of example, and this will be cleared soon. So I am saying or no non-prime attribute. Non-prime attribute is which is not the primary key kind of thing, is dependent on any proper subset of any candidate key of the table. So here the address is actually a non-prime attribute, and it is dependent on the one of the candidate key of the table. So that is going to give us the problem. So basically what are we going to say here is a non-prime attribute of a table is an attribute that is not a part of any candidate key of the table. So candidate key, I am sure you understand that a key which is going to uniquely identify the records. So though all those attributes or all those keys are known as candidate keys. So a non-prime attribute is the attribute which is not a part of any candidate key. So all such non-prime attributes are dependent on any proper subset of any candidate of the table, and candidate key is nothing but the minimal super key. Now let us try to see, for example, that similar library thing, that library allows the patterns to request the books that are currently out. So, for example, we have book number, we have patron, and we have phone number. So, book number is B3 J Fisher, and the phone number B2 also he has requested, and then the phone number B2 is being requested by M Amir, and the phone number is also given. Now, here if you can see, the candidate key is book number and patron. Now, what are the functional dependencies that we need to see here? We have patron being dependent on the phone number, that you can see here from this example, that the key here is book number and candidate key. One of the candidate key is book number and patron, and we also have patron which is dependent on phone number. Now, we can say that this table is actually not in second normal form, and there is a high potential for insertion anomalies, updation anomalies, and deletion anomalies also. So, what are we going to do? So, as we have seen that no non-prime attribute should be dependent on, let us say, any candidate key or any proper subset of the candidate key. In order to make it shorter, concise and simple, I am taking it as a table is in the second normal form if and if it is in the first normal form, and no non-prime attribute is dependent on any proper subset of any candidate key. So, this is what the second one which we need to ensure, and in order to ensure that, we need to put telephone number in the separate patron table. So, here we have book number which is being requested by B3, the book number B3 which is being requested by J Fisher, then we have book number B2 which is being requested by J Fisher again, and B2 is again also requested by M Amir. While when we have splitted this table into the two, we have we have put in the telephone number into a separate patron table, in which the patron, name of the patron is there and the phone number is there. Now, please see that the phone number is not actually now being repeated, because we have separated it and we have ensured that no non-prime attribute should be kind of, we can say, is dependent on the any proper subset of candidate key. That is what we have ensured by splitting this into the two. So, now even if we are inserting one more book which is requested by J Fisher, we are going to request it in the book number and patron. We do not have anything to do with the patron and phone number. If the updation of the phone number is being done by J Fisher, that has to be updated only at one place. Earlier it was to be updated on the multiple rows, we can say. And similarly, if J Fisher is, let us say, not requesting any book number, or it is he or she has already got the books they wanted, so then in that situation we have their record, which is the patron and the phone number, already in the second table, and we do not care about that whether the record is actually present in the first table of book number and patron, yes or no. So, here we will be able to kind of tackle all the anomalies which are going to come up as update anomaly, insertion anomaly or deletion anomaly. So, let us try to recap this problem once again. Here, if we want to update the phone number of J Fisher, that has to be updated by updated twice. If J Fisher has got both the books B2 and B3, the whole record of J Fisher has been removed, because this is the table which is allowing them to request the books that are currently out. And if J Fisher is going to get that, the record from here will be vanished off. Phone number if updated, then we need to kind of update it twice, and also we will not be able to insert any record here if the patron has not requested any book. So, all the types of anomalies are being taken care by splitting this particular table into two. And here if you can see the behind the curtain or under the carpet, the concept which lies is about is of the dependence, is of the functional dependence. So, second NF solution is going to we can say incorporate this this concept of functional dependency. So, in order to make ourselves very clear, let us see one more example of functional dependency and how it is going to be taken care of. So, let us say we have a database to track, we are talking about a conference scenario, and we have a database to track reviews of the papers which are submitted for that academic conference. And here we have many entities, we have authors, we have reviewers, we have papers, and so on and so forth, and review is also something which can be called here as an entity. Now see what is happening here. All the prospective authors are going to submit the papers for review, and they'll wait for the possible acceptance in the published conference proceedings. Then there are the details of entities. For example, author, if we talk about, it is having author number, name, mailing address, and optional emailing address. If we talk about the paper entity, it is going to include the title, the abstract, the review status, which could be pending, accepted or rejected, the paper number which is being assigned by the conference. Then it is also having its primary author and so on and so forth. Reviewer information is going to include the reviewer number, the name, the mailing address, and a unique optional email address. And finally, the completed review. So, we have papers, we have entities as authors, we have entities as reviewers also, and also a completed review includes the reviewer number, the date, the paper, comments to the author, comments to the program chairperson if any specific remarks, and we can say the ratings overall, the ratings, how much rating has been given to that particular paper, what is the originality, what is the correctness, what is the style, what is the clarity, and then so on and so forth. So, here if we look for functional dependencies, we are going to find a lot of functional dependencies. Let us see. Author number is functionally dependent on author name and author email. Here I am not talking about fully functional dependency, I am talking about functional dependencies. Then author number is dependent on author name, author email, and author address. Author email is also dependent on author number. Paper number functionally dependent on primary author number, title, abstract, and the status, review status. Then reviewer number is dependent on reviewer name, reviewer email, reviewer address. Reviewer email is dependent on reviewer number, and reviewer number and paper number are also dependent on author's comment, program committee comments, dates, and there are multiple ratings, which are the ratings given by the various reviewers, rating 1, rating 2, rating 3, and rating 4, and so on and so forth. So, now here we need to see what is the functional dependency which exists between a candidate key and a non-prime attribute. That has to be taken care of when we talk about the second normal form, because our second normal form says that the first thing which we need to ensure is the table should be in the first normal form, and any non-prime attribute should not be dependent on the candidate key or any proper subset of the candidate key. So, after we can say jotting down the functional dependencies, we need to check what actually functional dependencies are there which are violating this second condition of the second normal form. So, all non-key attributes in the table must be functionally dependent on the entire primary key, and on this basis we may need to kind of split the table as we did in our previous example. That also we need to see. And in second normal form, when we are actually kind of decomposing or splitting the we can say tables, we need that if a data item is fully functionally dependent on only a part of the primary key, we need to move that data item and that part of primary key to a new table. Also, the second point which we need to be careful about it, if other data items are functionally dependent on the same part of the key, you need to place them into the new table also. And we also need to see that the partial primary key which is copied from the original table and the primary key for the should be the primary key for the new table. You can see this third point on the screen, and let's see. Make the partial primary key copied from the original table, the primary key for the new table, and also place all the items that appear in the repeating group in a new table. So, if we are going to follow these 3 steps of decomposition, we will be able to decompose our tables suitably when we talk about second normal form. So, here in this lecture we have seen the second normal form, we have seen the conditions. Before going into second normal form, we have also seen the concept of functional dependencies, and this is actually we have seen second normal form with the help of examples. Here is the list of references which is being used for the preparation of this lectures as sources. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture. I will see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye.